What's up everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Ciryl Gane and Curtis Blaydes react to news of Jon Jones' return. Exciting news broke today regarding the highly anticipated return of former pound-for-pound kingpin Jon Jones. After much uncertainty regarding when next year Jones would make his return, it has now emerged that the former 205-pound kingpin is being targeted to return at UFC 285 on March 5th. The event, scheduled to take place in Vegas, is expected to see Jones fight heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. Of course, with the champion currently rehabbing his knee, talks of a replacement opponent for Jones quickly surfaced. Former interim heavyweight champion Ciryl Gane quickly threw his name in the hat, declaring March strap season, while calling out the champ, Jones, Blaydes, and any other top-ranked heavyweight who may get in his way. At the same time, top-ranked contender Curtis Blaydes was reacting to news that he was rumored to be the replacement fighter should Ngannou be unable to meet the March deadline. He took to Instagram to give his thoughts on the rumor, which he included as an attached photo, saying, "Not sure how legit this is, but if this fight happens, I'll be ready for 5 rounds. So far, no reaction yet from either Jones or Ngannou. Before anything is finalized, however, the UFC brass will likely have to mend some fences with Ngannou, who is admittedly still not satisfied with how the UFC has handled his complaints regarding their contracts. Should he wind up holding out and refusing to fight Jones, the UFC could very well book the former pound-for-pound kingpin to fight in an interim title bout. With so many potential fights for Jones, who do you want to see him make his return against? The champion Francis Ngannou, or a top contender like Ciryl Gane or Curtis Blaydes? Give us your thoughts in the comment section below. Israel Adesanya's coach understands UFC 281 stoppage. There's been quite a bit of controversy surrounding referee Marc Goddard's decision to put a halt to the Israel Adesanya-Alex Pereira fight. On the one hand, many, including UFC President Dana White, felt as though the last stylebender was out of the fight and the stoppage was a good one. But on the other hand, Adesanya has maintained that he was simply letting Pereira gas himself out so he could land a takedown and finish the fight. The debate raged on in the days following the fight, with everyone from UFC veteran Matt Brown to Adesanya's teammate Dan Hooker weighing in on the situation. One man who has remained silent so far has been Adesanya's head coach, Eugene Berriman, who many have been eager to hear from in the wake of the loss. This week, during an appearance on Combat TV, Berriman broke his silence on the loss while reflecting on the stoppage, saying,
"I can't sit here and truthfully say that that was an early stoppage. I believe it was. I'm happy with the stoppage, personally.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the stoppage. I felt Israel was in trouble. I saw some sign, having with all my experience that I've had in the sport, I saw some signs that he was in trouble, and I felt that prolonging the fight longer than when Marc Goddard stopped it would have ended up not good for Israel's health."
The debate has frustrated Alex Pereira, who felt as though he was clearly on his way to a brutal win. The newly crowned champion recently took to Instagram to shut down Adesanya's talks of an early stoppage, maintaining that had the fight not been stopped, things would have only gotten worse from there. What did you think of the stoppage? Did you think referee Marc Goddard stopped the fight at the appropriate time? Or should he have let it go on to give everyone involved a more decisive finish? Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Francis Ngannou reflects on knee injury prior to Ciryl Gane fight. When Francis Ngannou unified the heavyweight title at UFC 270 to kick off the year, nobody could have known that he did so with a blown-out knee. According to his team, Ngannou tore both his ACL and his MCL less than a month before he stepped into the octagon with Gane. Despite the injury, the Predator had no qualms about fighting his former training partner in a clash for UFC gold. Leading up to the fight, reports emerged that the champion and the UFC brass were not on the best terms. Although nobody knew exactly what was going on behind closed doors, UFC President Dana White revealed that he and the champion ran into each other at dinner and had a good conversation, leading many to assume the relationship had turned the corner. As Ngannou recently explained, however, despite the fact that he and White did get along, leading up to his fight with Gane, the UFC sent an email to his manager threatening to sue him for breach of contract. The champion believed that this was an attempt to throw him off his game, given that the email was sent the day of the fight. Not to be deterred, he wound up picking up an impressive win over Gane, largely thanks to his wrestling game. In a recent video posted on his YouTube account as part of his Road to Recovery series, Ngannou reflected on the knee injury leading up to the fight, saying,
"Everything was designed for me to fall and collapse, you know, like not to come back. That was how it was designed. Like, okay, that's how it's gonna be. Let's go.
Right now, the champion is gearing up to make his highly anticipated return to the octagon next year. Initially, the UFC hoped he would be good to go by the end of 2022, but it now appears that he'll meet Jon Jones next March in a highly anticipated showdown a few years in the making. Although the fight hasn't been made official, the UFC has reportedly penciled in Jones for the fight, with Ngannou hopefully able to return and defend his title. And now for our breaking news story of the day.
That was an illegal knee on the head of a grounded opponent. Shut up, Joe, you little fool, yeah. What are you talking about? Smash this and smash that. What was smashed? My knee into his fucking eye socket, yeah? Sake. That's a knee to a grounded opponent. Call the cops. Fucking ticket.
Brendan Schaub wants Khamzat Chimaev versus Alex Pereira showdown. At this point, nobody can possibly begin to predict who Khamzat Chimaev's next opponent will be. After defeating Kevin Holland in a catchweight fight following a horrendous weigh-in miss, Chimaev seemed bound for 185 pounds. After that, he called for a fight with Colby Covington, something the UFC was reportedly working on as of a few weeks ago. At the same time, the streaking prospect was calling out newly crowned middleweight champion Alex Pereira for a showdown in Brazil early next year, as well as calling out Gilbert Burns for a rematch at middleweight after their Fight of the Year contender earlier this year. With no shortage of potential opponents for Chimaev, former UFC heavyweight Brendan Schaub recently weighed in on the situation, as well as a post from Pereira saying,
"You have one more chance, you're next." Not if Khamzat gets his way. I don't think the UFC
that would
do
be
that,
so
though.
amazing, though.
Yeah, I don't think. Or the UFC might, because they're going to call Izzy, like, all right, when you're ready to do this thing, he's like, man, I'm having surgery, I'm going to be out this long. I'm like, oh, we ain't waiting. But then it would ruin that, right?
But it'd be
But
such
you
an
can still
amazing
do
fight,
an Izzy Pierre fight, no matter what, even if Pierre has the belt or not.
Yeah.
But yeah, Khamzat would be a handful for
It's so fun.
Pierre. Hopefully they do it.
So far, it doesn't sound as though the UFC is interested in booking Chimaev for a showdown with Pereira, although there's been no word on when the promotion will look to book a rematch between Pereira and Adesanya. It seems as though a rematch is next up on the champion's schedule. Stay tuned for updates as they become available. Today's video was packed with some juicy stories from the fight world. What are your thoughts about what's going on in MMA? Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the MMA Zone to see more videos just like this. See you next time.